beauty stand and those in between or neither. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, and today the banners have switched over. 4-7 is here, so that means we're going to be doing some test runs. Today we have 5 stars Clorinde from Fontaine, and Alhaitham from Sumeru. And for 4 stars, we have Sathos, Bennett, which that has to be why Bennett's here, but he's here, and Thoma. So, for those of you who are not familiar with what I do on these test runs, I basically go in, I see what Hoyo has decided to give them, and figure out if they actually work for somebody like me. And if we're lucky, we do polls. So, we're going to start with our first 5-star, Miss Clorinde, who is supposed to be an Electro DPS unit. So let's see how well she does. Let's see how well she does. So, I'm not going to worry about the character description right now. Instead, we are going to open up the character menu. So we have Clorinde, wonderfully. Oh, that is so cool! That is cool, okay. And then we've got Absolution, which is her signature weapon. Deathly Pact. Crit damage increased by 20%. Increasing the value of a Bond of Life increases the damage of the equipping character by 16% for 6 seconds, maximum of 3 stacks. So, this is definitely another Bond of Life character, which, if you like that sort of thing with, like, Arlecchino, then I think this will be a DPS unit for you. Let's see what she's rocking for artifacts. We have a full set of Harmonic Whimsy. So the 2-piece bonus is her attack is boosted by 18%. And then for the 4-piece bonus, when the value of a Bond of Life increases or decreases, this character's damage is increased by 18% for 6 seconds, a maximum of 3 times. I cannot look at substats because this is Hoyo, so they probably cracked those stats because they can. And it looks like Clorinde is actually part of an overload composition. So we have Chevreuse with Rightful Reward. Tip of the Spear, when the wielder is healed, restores 8 energy. This effect can be triggered once every 10 seconds. We will probably be using Chevreuse for more of a damage resistance shred, as opposed to her healing. Did they give her? They did give her a full set of Song of Days Past, which is kind of one of the quintessential healer sets alongside Maiden's Beloved. Which, I will be honest, it is kind of nice that we have 2 sets that are kind of dedicated to healing now. And then we've got our standard Oz, or at least standard for Hoyo standards, applying a little bit more Electro DPS. And then we also have Thoma for our shielder with the Chitin Crossspear. So his skill damage is increased by 6% after the skill hits an opponent. The character loses 3 energy but regenerates said energy every 2 seconds. For the next 6 seconds, this can only occur once every 10 seconds. And Thoma does not need to be on field in order for that to actually occur. And then he's the Noblesse user of this composition. Okay. So we're actually going to start this off with Thoma. Then we'll flip into Fischl to set up Oz. Flip up to Chevreuse to try and get some of the resistance shred. And then we've got Clorinde, who is here to deal damage. Let's see if this will actually work. I'm used to going top down and not bottom up, so We'll see if I can actually pull this off. Alright.
Don't get too close.
Oz, reveal thyself.
You,
Final warning.
Chevreuse. And now we get into Cloran, who is doing a wonderful job. Just
Shoot on sight.
kind of on her own, actually. That is
Fire it up.
lovely.
Supporting fire. As you wish, main Fräulein.
Yeah, just get her out of there.
Stop right there. You asked for
Drop
it.
her first.
Ready.
I figure you would be, Cloran.
Time to testify.
God, that is so cool.
Check this out.
Make sure.
By royal decree. Into the shadows.
I mean, Cloran is just a crit machine. It's just the bond of life that's kind of a scary
Don't get too
prospect.
close. Here's backup.
Midnight Phantasmagory. Justice will prevail. Ready.
Yep, it's
Time to testify.
fine, and there we go. Cloran is finished. Very solid. A very solid 5-star Electro DPS. However, I've already got several other Electro DPSs, so I don't necessarily need Cloran. I'm sorry! I'm sorry, but from what I managed to make work, it works really well. So now we have the, former Grand Sage, considering what happens in Sumeru's storyline, Alhaitham. As far as I know, he's still the scribe for the sages. He's just not the Grand Sage. Because I don't think he stepped away from the academia entirely. But his moveset is effectively more of a... He's a Dendro style of Kaching, actually. And it looks like we are on a Hyper Bloom composition with Barbara and Fischl. I'm not going to show Barbara and Fischl because you guys have probably already seen that. So, starting with Alhaitham's weapon, we have the Light of Foliar Incision. I'm probably not saying that right. With White Moon Bristle, the crit rate is increased by 4% after normal attacks deal elemental damage. The Foliar Incision effect will be obtained, increasing the damage dealt by normal and elemental skill attacks by 120% of elemental mastery. This effect will disappear after 28 damage instances or 12 seconds, whichever comes first. You can only obtain the incision every 12 seconds. God, that sword's tempting. That sword is very tempting, and I wouldn't put it on him, I would put it on Shinobu, actually, and just have it be her sword. And he's got a full set of Gilded Dreams. I'm not going to read the full 4-piece effect, so here we go. Take your time to read. If you haven't, well, not going to worry about it. And since this is Hyper Bloom, we're actually going to start with Barbara. And the reason is because we're going to set up a healing aura around her that will also deal instances of Hydro. So, we'll do this. Pop into Alhaitham to let Alhaitham do his thing. And then once we don't have Electro enemies, I will pop into Fischl, set up Oz.
Darkness, come, Severn.
Make sure. Because Oz is actually being super helpful in the fact that
Process of elimination.
he's
Flicker.
giving extra damage. And we can pop into Fischl. Ah!
Oh, goodness gracious.
Whoops.
Let's dance.
And that
Oz,
is
reveal thyself. Shadow Raven, let night fall.
just making sure that we get out of dodge.
Scatter.
Wow. Alhaitham actually worked out pretty well. I'm not sure if it's because they buffed him for the trial, but he's very similar to Kaching, and that actually kind of helps me feel comfortable with him. But now we're actually getting into the 4 stars, so we won't be getting primos for this, but we will be getting other materials. Starting with the newest 4 stars in the lineup, Sethos. Now, if you watched me go through the second part of Sinnoh's Story Quest, I'm kind of meh on Sethos, at least in terms of personality. Let's see if his kit will actually kind of work for me, or if it's just a little bit of a convoluted mess. I'm hoping it's not a convoluted mess. So, not going to read that at the moment. Looks like we are in a quicken, spread, and aggravate composition. And 3 out of the 4 are actually bow users. So, interesting. So we have Scion of the Blazing Sun, which is a battle pass weapon. So the Wave of Sunfire, after a charge attack hits an opponent, a Sunfire arrow will descend, dealing more damage. Applying the Heart Serum effect to the opponent, damage by said arrow for 10 seconds. So he effectively just applies a damage over time effect. Whenever he does a charge shot, that's the problem that I have. I'm not great with charge shots. And he's got Wanderer's Troop, which does increase his damage since he's using a bow. And then we have our Nugget Kale on a full set of Deepwood Memories, so she's going to be shredding some Dendro resistance with the Stringless, so her boomerang and her little cat. I don't remember the name of the cat, but they'll be doing some more Dendro damage, which is nice. Fischl also having the Stringless, so Oz will be doing more damage. And I don't need to show artifacts for her, because we've already seen Fischl multiple times before. And then we have Yao Yao! The second nugget of this team, on a Favonius Lance and another set of Deepwood Memories. So if Kali's not proccing it, Yao Yao will, which is a nice little safety measure. And Yao Yao is predominantly here for energy, helping with energy and healing. Okay, now how do I want this composition to work? I think we're actually going to start with Yao Yao and set up Yugui to get Dendro everywhere. And then we're going to flip into Fischl to set up Oz, toss the couple boomerangs out, and then maybe we'll be able to finish off with Sethos. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not the best with the archers, so I'll just have to do what I can. Oz, if you can. Sethos.
Excuse me?
Wow. Okay. Hydro Mimics.
Yugui, you're up.
As you wish, main Fräulein.
Just getting her out of
Go!
the
Practice all
boomerang.
the time.
That actually works out decently well. At least against Hydro Mimics.
Give some space.
Don't be scared. Go,
And now we...
Yugui. By royal decree.
No most of the other team members are doing the work, though,
Where you headed?
as opposed to Sethos himself.
Just wisdom. Give me some space.
So I will admit, he is solid.
That hurt real bad.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Reveal myself. Shadow Raven, Black Knight.
Where you heading? Move or be moved.
Stay put.
Yeah. Nothing's ready to go for official, so we're not gonna do that. Sethos. There we go. Not the cleanest, I will admit. And honestly, if you somehow don't already have Fischl, Sethos is a good option. But if you have Fischl, I think Fischl might be a better unit for you to use. But then again, that's just coming from somebody who's kind of used Fischl before and is more comfortable with Fischl over Sethos. So, now we get into the oddballs of the 4-star lineup in Bennett and Toma. I was genuinely thinking that there was going to be another Hydra unit, like maybe Candace. Yeah, predominantly Candace. And then I'm trying to think of any other Fontaine 4-stars that would have shown up. Charlotte could have been an option because we haven't seen her for a while. And I think that's the only one because Siegeween is 5-star and she's actually on the next set of banners. So yeah. I understand the usefulness of Benny. I don't know why he's here. I don't know why Toma's here when there are other 4-star options that could have been used. Like, mainly Charlotte, Candace, Layla. Well, no, not Layla, because Layla was on the banner before, so they wouldn't do the 4-stars back to back. I'm not going to show the composition again for this one because Benny's just been used so much before. Instead, we'll just kind of get into it and pop the
You're in
Lisa
for
right
a little
away
shock.
Boba, get them.
and just hopefully we can handle things.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
I know, Christina.
Everybody
I
stand
know.
back. Out of the frying pan, into the
And
fire.
since Zhanling is getting the bonus from the Benny buff,
Come a little. Surrender and I'll be gentle.
hop
Nice and
into
Teamwork is teamwork.
teamwork.
Boba, get them. Yours.
I'm not even using Sing Cho at this point. I'm just trying to finish this up as quick as possible.
Try not to enjoy this too much.
And
Rain cutter.
we'll just do this.
Everybody stand back.
Well, that was a quick bullying of the cryo of this page. Sweet. But yeah, I don't understand why Benny's here. Kaveh, Candace, Charlotte. All of those could have been decent options, and yet we get Benny and Toma. Just what? Oh well. At least we get some decent materials from them. Especially Toma, considering those fungus are a pain in the butt to get. Alright, last trial and then my thoughts for this half at least. Okay. So this is a melt composition and I'm doing this because we've got some characters that haven't really shown up. So Kaiten Crossspear and Toma will be the noblesse user of the roster. And then we have Xianling, who is our Crimson Witch and two-piece noblesse. So her burst is going to do a lot of damage, and she's got Dragon's Bane as well. And then we've got Kaya, who is here to help with energy and possibly freezing targets, because this is what we call a melt composition. And then we have Yanfei. I think Yanfei is actually going to be the main damage dealer here. With Lost Prayers. Oh gosh, Lost Prayers. And a full set of Crimson Witch. So I'm going to start with Toma, and then I'll see if I can flip over to Kaya in time. And then Xianling can set up with her energy, and then we have Yanfei just finishing it. So, shield,
Dodge this.
frozen,
Out of the frying pan, into the
pull
pot,
that, do
incinerate.
your thing, and then just getting rid of everything else.
Ramp up the flame.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Hello.
Stop it! Check this out. I got you covered.
Nice and spicy.
And since these are predominantly Pyro units, it's just going to be easier if we just use the Pyro units to our advantage in Xianling, Toma, and Yanfei.
For your arraignment. Incinerate.
Here's backup.
Booba, get them. You're toast.
And Yanfei can just run around and finish this off. Perfect! So Kaya was really just there to get us through the first stage with the Hydra unit, so he didn't really need to be there. So, and I will need to claim stuff from the battle pass. Well, once we're done. So, thoughts on this character lineup as a whole? Honestly, both 5 stars at this point are very solid. If you want another Electro DPS, and you don't have somebody like Raiden, Oz, or Shinobu, which, even then, you can also put Shinobu in a support position, as well as Oz, and arguably Raiden, depending on the team composition. The point is, if you don't have somebody who is dedicated to dealing with electro damage, Clorind is definitely a very strong contender to fit that role. However, if you already have somebody, you don't really need it. Alhaitham's a little bit different, because outside of Kaveh, who hasn't really shown up since he was released, Hoyao, there aren't a lot of characters that are dedicated to a on-field Dendro DPS position. If you're looking for something like that, Alhaitham is definitely your best candidate. His sword is amazing if you want to use it for other units. Clorind's not so much, considering it is Bond of Life and there just aren't that many sword characters that also have a Bond of Life mechanic just yet. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about Clorind's weapon as well. Sethos is a mixed bag. Because initially, and you'll hear this back in the stream where I do go through this, the second half of Sino's story, I thought he would have just been a 4-star equivalent to Sino. And no, he's more of a 4-star equivalent to Ganyu, and his element is Electro, which we don't need another Electro DPS character, considering the characters that I've already listed when talking about Clorind. Also, Clorind can also be a part of the list! So, I personally wouldn't shoot for Sathos. Please, ignore the pun. But that's just my thoughts. And then Benny, he's like the pyro support, so if you haven't picked him up somehow and you want to try him, now would be a good time. Also, if you're looking for a pyro shielder, Toma is definitely a good option. Just be very careful because that shield can get flimsy if you don't have him on a full HP set. Now, am I going to
commodities back and forth, and those that
pull? Sorry, Zhongli. I don't think I am this go around because the second half is either Siegeween and Farina. And the way that I'm thinking about this, if I go into the test run and I don't like Siegeween, I'm pivoting and throwing everything at Farina. Because Farina is just one of the biggest Hydro supports in the game. Sorry. So, I don't think I'm going to pull right now. It's just not a good idea. Because I want to save as many resources as I can for one of the two Hydro supports. And no, I don't have enough for a standard pull. So we're not going to worry about it right now. We're not going to worry about it. So, with that in mind, I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. Please make sure to leave me a follow and ring that notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I go live. On the YouTube channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe over there so you don't miss a recap. I'm not at affiliate yet, so if you're feeling generous, I do have a Ko-Fi link in the About section of the Twitch channel and in the description of the YouTube videos. Any money generated through there will go back towards the channel. And if you're looking for something a little bit different from me, I'm also a freelance writer with a passion for D&D homebrew. A link to the portfolio of the works that I've done is also in the About section of the Twitch channel and in the description of the YouTube videos. I don't guarantee perfection, just something interesting for your next tabletop adventure. The next stream, I'm probably going to do a shorter Arceus stream on Friday, and then I will be sitting in with my buddy, the one and only Chaotic Coffee Boy, and I might be doing Violet for that one, depending on what he wants to do. But that's a couple days. We'll figure it out. With all that said,